different experience, and that's something you really have to do. And you have to spend literally hours watching her videos. You will watch these videos on repeat over and over and over again. You may say that some of her videos tend to be a little bit provocative, but whose videos out there aren't provocative? Either their videos or their photo ops they do with photo sessions. They absolutely turn them around to be ridiculous and turn them into the most provocative things we have seen. Like Selena Gomez, who I really don't agree with some of her choices in life, for both her life, her personal life I'm talking about here, and her career. I remember those vampire photos from about a year and a half ago and how ridiculous they were. She was wearing lingerie with vampire fangs thrown into her for feel. What direction she was going with it, I really don't know. Obviously, Justin has gotten inside of her head with her latest single, What the Heart Wants, and really driven her off the deep end, in my opinion, and it is absolutely ridiculous. But at least Ariana Grande has something positive going for her in terms of a relationship. She's actually in love with someone she met via Twitter, which I found to be a really unique story behind. She actually talked about that in depth for an in-studio interview her entire family attended, including this boyfriend she met on Twitter. Can you imagine if you were in the position of Ariana Grande falling in love with a fan of yours on Twitter and flying out to meet them and spending the rest of your life with them? Potentially, it's amazing. The story that goes behind that, I saw that for an in-studio interview, which I actually shared some time ago on our Facebook page at HEW Entertainment and on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke. When everything Ariana Grande does is done with so much perfection and so much dedication, it is truly unbelievable. And, it goes to show just how talented someone is. They can play the ditziest of a character on television for a TV show like Victorious or Sam and Cat, and then be the brightest individual in the world. And that's what Ariana Grande is. She's as bright as a button, honest to God, and she's just amazing. She glistens with passion, and she just puts her 110%, if not more of a percentage, into everything that she does. I mean, you can't go any further than what Ariana Grande has done. Yes, there's a lot for Ariana Grande still out there to accomplish, because she hasn't accomplished as much as what a Miley Cyrus has from her entire career, if you were to put it into perspective that way, because we haven't seen an autobiography released on her life yet, or we haven't seen a #1 hit movie released from Ariana Grande. But give her time. I had this conversation with Wacko Bob on the Wacko Network at Blog Talk Radio on how he had to give Ashley Tisdale time. People like Ashley Tisdale and Demi Lovato to break out on the big screen, and Ashley Tisdale is doing that with her production company, Blondie Girl Productions, since a previous role she has had on the big screen, like the lead role of the lead actress in Scary Movie 5, which I was a big fan of. Of course, she's assistant director in the direction of Young and Hungry, which I'm really looking forward to, starring Emily Osment. First big role for Emily in years. You have to give these people time, and Ariana Grande, getting back on track with her now, if you give her maybe in the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to see her on the big screen more than what we're seeing her on television right now. And the thing was with Sam and Cat, why it was canceled so soon was because they couldn't get along apparently, and I think it was just done so fast. They didn't know what the direction of the show necessarily was really going to be definitely, and they were going in all sorts of different directions, and in due time, in very fast time, they were very confused with the direction of the show. You had a cast that couldn't get along, which was a huge downer for the show, because you have to create a chemistry for a television show, and it just so happens that Ariana and Jeanette couldn't put aside their personal issues to get Sam and Cat to a position. They got it to a certain position in the early point of 2013, but there was something wrong. Somewhere along the way, they kind of lost sense of their direction and themselves, and just couldn't let bygones be bygones, like Miley and Emily were able to do as Miley and Lily, Miley Stewart and Lily Truscott for the Hannah Montana series. They were able to do it and do it effectively, and that's one thing that I give Disney a tremendous amount of credit for, and keep putting them over on this radio show for doing. They make their co-stars coexist even if they don't want to, no matter if you're male, female, you've never met before in your life, if you have a personal history, animosity towards one another. If you work together on set with a chemistry they notice, they force you to work together. It may be a back set for Disney because some people don't want to work together, but it has to be done to make a show get to a certain position, and that's why Hannah Montana stayed on top for 6 years. That's why Wizards of Waverly Place and Good Luck Charlie from the Disney side of things got to where they got. And the only way shows like Sam and Cat, The Haunted Hathaways, is going to get anywhere is if they coexist, and they weren't able to with Sam and Cat. They took home awards like Favorite TV Actress for Ariana Grande winning in that category last year, and they took home the award for Favorite TV Show as well. So they did get a couple of awards at the Nick Kids Choice Awards of 2014 earlier this year. So they did accomplish a little bit, but there was a lot more that could have been done with that show. And I remember a great cloud of depression seemingly coming over my head when news of this first broke, the cancellation of the show. I remember hearing about it on a syndicated satellite radio show, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed up literally the whole night to hear this announcement on the future of Sam and Cat, and it was only to find out that Ariana had tweeted about the memories Sam and Cat had given her, and that she would never forget it because of some animosity between herself and her co-stars, especially Jeanette McCurdy. They had to cancel the show. So it was almost like this cloud of depression had moved in over my head, and all I was left with were the memories of shows like Victorious, which was a great show. Again, another show that falls into the category of having so much done with it. There was so much potential behind that, and all the cast, there was a total cast members of 7 for that one. There was so much potential behind that. That got canceled way too soon, and Sam and Cat quickly followed in the footsteps of shows that were canceled way too soon. You'll never have a show like iCarly or Drake and Josh that kind of stay around and seemingly are there forever. And even if they don't make episodes of the show anymore, they still air it. You're never going to see a show like iCarly or Victorious come along again. You're just going to see these shows that show up and are gone again before time is up for the show. So that's what we're faced with now for both major organizations like Nickelodeon and Disney. Now shows are just kind of come and go, and there's really nothing we can do about it. Only focus on their careers as a solo actress or a solo singer or a solo actor or a solo singer, in that kind of aspect. I mean, we never hear anything from a Mitchell Musso or an Emily Osmond anymore, and it's just that's because that's the way it is. Unfortunately, especially when they had, and it's unfortunate because they had millions of fans and millions of supporters like Ariana Grande has now, and they could still be doing things. It's just they don't want to put themselves out there. Yes, Emily is still involved in movies and television, but she's not as muchly involved as what she was back in 2004, 2005, when she was just getting her start as a co-actress for a TV show like Hannah Montana. The thing is, Ariana Grande, the advantage she has over stars like Victoria Justice and Emily Osmond is that she keeps putting herself out there. And along with that, she has a great image that you can't help but fall in love with. I know I did. When I first saw Victorious, that's how I discovered about Ariana Grande. I also knew some background information on her about how she was one of the lead actresses in the Broadway musical The Lion King, along with Matt Bennett, and I had followed her for years, but I got my start with Ariana back on the first season of Victorious when I discovered that show because, believe it or not, I didn't know anything about the show Victorious, the concept of the show, what the show detailed, the cast members. I fell in love with all the cast members, but especially Ariana and Victoria, who really brought out the best of that show. But Ariana just had this glistening personality that you couldn't help but fall in love with, and I've been in love with it ever since, and that's why I keep putting her over as a star of tomorrow, which really that's what it amounts to. 10 years from now, if she's still making music and still has the same image that she's been able to maintain since breaking away from a show like Victorious and Nickelodeon and coming out with an EP called what was it, Yours Truly, and then the follow-up to that, Your Everything, her full-length album featuring singles like Problem, Break Free, Bang Bang. It's amazing what Ariana has collaborated, since the release of her EP, which had the song The Way, featuring Macmillan, and then about a year after that, she comes out with a full-length album that was comprised by an award-winning studio and producer. You couldn't ask for a better assistance group behind Ariana, and this is why Ariana is in the position that she's in and won so many awards, and I put her over earlier on in the show. This is interesting because I put her over earlier on in the show as someone who is hotter than Miley Cyrus ever was back in 2009, 2010. That's an interesting way of putting over Ariana, and I want to know if you agree with my assumption and the statement I made earlier, which was I believe Ariana Grande has gotten to a point where she is hotter than Miley Cyrus. I mean, yes, Miley Cyrus had a lot of great songs in 2013, for album bangers despite the criticism. She had We Can't Stop, 23, so many great songs off that album. Wrecking Ball was the other one I'm thinking of that had so much controversy behind the music video for it. But the thing is, Miley Cyrus never did put out songs like Ariana is putting out now. I mean, Break Free was an amazing song. There were so many remixes of that song. I know this because I DJ from time to time. There were so many remixes of that song put out It was absolutely amazing. Of course, then you had Bang Bang featuring Jessie J, who has that new single on the top 40 American Billboard chart called Burnin' Up. She has some backup on that one as well. There are so many great songs on that. One of my favorites was Problem, featuring Iggy Azalea, who is Beg For It and Fancy, still on the Billboard chart. Black Widow is the other one from her. She has 3 singles. Ariana is teaming up with people who have up to 3 singles to a time on the American Billboard chart. Miley Cyrus never ever did that. You know, you're looking at the top 40 American Billboard chart now, and you're noticing that Ariana has 2 to 3 singles to a time on the Billboard chart. It was even to the point where she'd put out a Christmas song, and that Christmas song would somewhere be in the 70th to 65th position on the top 100 Billboard chart of that year, and that's only recently she did that. But throughout 2014, for most of the time she dominated the chart, she had anywhere from 2 to 3 singles to a time on the top 40, not in the top 50 or top 65, top 70, 80, 90, 100, what had you. She always had 3 songs in a position to take over the number 1 position on the top 40. Somewhere within the top 40, she had a single. It was amazing. If one didn't pan out the way that she wanted it to, the other one would make up where the other one missed out on the opportunity. It's incredible. Miley never did have a time where she had 3 songs on the Billboard chart. In 2007, she had We Were a Movie on the top 40 American Billboard chart, but it never really did go to number 1. It never did get that chance. And a lot of songs Miley did put out never did get that chance to go to number 1. The only one is Hannah Montana that went to number 1 was This Is the Life. And the only song that established her as Hannah was the best of both worlds, the theme song of the TV series. She never did have a mega number 1 hit. I mean, This Is the Life only stayed at number 1 for 5 weeks in 2007. It's amazing how many statistics I know about these stars. But Ariana puts out a song, and she's kind of like a Taylor Swift. You know, she stays in that position for a significant amount of time. She could stay in a position with Break Free for about a month before she's knocked out of that position. You know, it might be Taylor Swift's year again in 2015 off the release of 1989, the new album, which you can download now on iTunes from Taylor, featuring a lot of singles like Blank Space and Shake It Off, and a lot of great songs we have yet to premiere on a Billboard chart or syndicated radio, which will throughout 2015, because she's got to follow up from her latest Blank Space, which is an amazing song. But the thing is, Ariana Grande puts out a song, and literally within weeks it goes to number 1. This new one, Love Me